everything's working right. I've been working, like, last night after I was finished the stream, I had to rearrange everything. I'm probably going to hit this camera. I just want to give fair warning. Like, this thing's, like, right here. I don't really have a lot of space in this studio. So, and I have not used this drawing desk, to be quite honest, in probably, let's see, 6 years. For a while there, I was using it to hold my oil paints. I had to rearrange, I had the studio a different arrangement, and so it's covered with linseed oil and nice nastiness. You can see all that gross and shit all over it. So I was thinking, I'm just gonna rearrange it a little bit, whatever. I like drawing shoes. I haven't drawn shoes in a while. I like shoes. And the reason I like shoes is kind of bizarre, but to be honest, it's because, like, shoes have life. And maybe that sounds a little bizarre, but, like, alright. Like, I'm gonna bring these in a little closer for a second. Like, look at this piece of shit. Alright. I wore the shit out of these shoes. The heel's messed up inside of it. You got a cracked thing there, you know. Tread's not too bad. There's a couple broken parts, like, and once shoes have been worn for a while, like shoes or boots or whatever, like, I don't know, any footwear, I don't know, I feel like there's something to them. Yeah, maybe it's weird. Like, it's not foot fetishy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to make it sound like that or anything. Like, it's just like shoes are pretty awesome. When I was in college, I did paintings of, like, I had a bunch of Chuck Taylors. Like, I had, like, a different Chuck Taylor for, like, every day of the week. God damn, this cord's, like, right in the mix. Alright. But let's get to work. It's Christmas Eve. Gotta get to the family events sometime soon, later tonight, so more than likely, these will probably end up being paintings in the new year. I've actually been kicking around the idea of trying to do, like, a bunch of shoe paintings. In fact, I might actually start asking some of my friends for old shoes. Kind of like a portrait of them, but, like, not being portraits of them. I was thinking about that the other day. See, going back to, I bring it up a lot because it's really was my most productive time as an artist prior to the past few years. When I was going to art school, my teacher, the one teacher I actually got along with, told me a story of how he had a student that had done portraits, as he called them, of his friends and stuff, but they weren't of their face, they were of the drinks, like whatever their favorite alcoholic drink was. And I was like, that's pretty cool. Like, so he, you know, someone likes vodka tonic, boom, there's vodka tonic, and that's, you know, gin or whatever, you know. And so it's kind of like a similar idea, but I think you get more of the person's life out of their shoes than you will out of their drinks. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope everyone who celebrates the holiday is will have a wonderful holiday. We've already threatened to cancel it on my 4-year-old. That's not my 4-year-old. She's acting like a 4-year-old. My 8-year-old. I'm not really gonna cancel it. But I did threaten her. I will say this. I threatened her with something I think far worse than canceling Christmas. And that's angles all wrong. We're gonna start over. Let's get our center lines here. That's fine. And it's going to be different if you're going to draw off the camera there. It'll be different for you, obviously. But that's okay. I just want to kind of get like an idea of my angles to start. I got too caught into details already. I always do that. I always say I'm not going to. But say, I'm going to do this right this time. I'm going to start with blocky spots and, you know. Man, thanks to NetDev, by the way. I was just over there playing marbles. I don't know what I did in this last game. I don't know if there's a way, like, anybody ever do these marbles on stream? I have no idea how it fucking works. Because it seems to be like, oh, there's a way to do stuff, but I don't know how you do it. Like, I don't know how to play. I just put in play, whatever. My marble dies when my marble dies. Maybe there's no way to do it. Maybe it's just totally random. I have no idea. But, man, thanks to him. He gave a bunch of shout-outs. And I celebrated my... Well, yeah, I thought about that one, but you know what I've thought of? Here's my threat to her today. I said, if you don't knock it off, I posted on Facebook, so you might have seen it there. But I threatened her with the Star Wars Christmas special. I told her if she doesn't knock it off, I'm going to make her sit and watch it. I already had one of my friends on Facebook threaten to call child services. But hey, Daddy doesn't fuck around. Mommy pulls a softball. Oh, we're gonna cancel Christmas. Everyone knows that's full of shit. Look, kids, you're gonna have to listen to B. Arthur sing. Don't fuck with me. You should see how, like, I am in here, by the way, right now. Like, it would be, like, I am so, I thought being painted, like, my painting setup was cramped. This is, holy shit. I hope I don't lose it. Did you catch the opening bit, by the way, when I was talking about the shoes, or? Because if not, you got old shoes you can send me? I'm gonna probably harass Billy for some too. Possibly harass my brother too. The last time I did a pair of his shoes, and I think he's lost that painting. 90% sure it's missing. This one right here. Yeah, it's at a different angle. I can't do it from my, as cramped as I am now. I could not put that one there. I thought about it. Because it's the little mini cam, and I thought maybe I could hook it onto something and keep it. No, I just can't. There's too many wires already. So I figure that's okay though. If someone wants to draw along, you know, it's a different drawing, same subject, but it's cool. It's like as if you're in, you know, you're in a classroom. You know, you're never going to be drawing that model or whatever the still life that the teacher set up from the same angle as the person next to you, you know, or across the room from you. So I thought, yeah, it's all right. After all, it is what I would like this channel to eventually become. It's a little more of a, we're all going to work together on different things, you know, but similar subjects, and then be able to talk about it later. Sketchbook should be good though. And believe me, to get the sketchbook even to be sort of, I mean, I know it's going to be a little warped, a little on an angle, but to even get to there was a chore. I've got my tripod set up with one leg fully extended, the other two stunted to keep it on my desk. And it's put into the holster, cranked funny, and then it's cockeyed, and it's a unique setup. So I'm a little squished right now. I'm not getting the distance right between there. Like this fish, it's like a fish-like shape here, almost like a those like Jesus bumper thingies, or not bumper sticker, but like little magnet things. Kind of reminds me of that. It's like that's the space right there. Actually, oh, if Mr. Rossman could see me now, doing everything I used to say, I'm not gonna do that shit, man. Nice. New cameras, new what's? Or just other, well, I don't know what else you could put in it. Like, as you see, I added my gold bar on the bottom. I'm pointing like you can see me. Forget I'm not on my normal setup where you could sort of see me. Now, if you get new shoes for Christmas, send me your old ones. Oh God, yeah, okay. One of those like, all right. That'll be cool. So like the whole setup thing, like you can set up like if you really wanted to, like weird little things to pop up and shit on those Steam Deck things, or Stream Decks. It's kind of like the at least the ones I've seen, it look like the touch screen like soundboard things that Steve from the Preston Steve Show uses. That would be cool. Let's put it this way. Though I did something, I added something onto the stream that I guess, yeah, it's like a little add-on in Streamlabs that unfortunately, as of right now, no one will be able to use. Because it's like a face thing. Like masks or whatever it is, I forgot what they call it. Face painting or something. Really doesn't work if there's no face, right? I'd like that if the third camera or whatever, but I just apparently the little like USB multiplier thing or whatever that I have, like lets me use multiple USBs into one slot. Doesn't work for this or whatever. I don't know if the thing is bad. I mean, it is a Siemens product, so I don't know if it's bad. Probably is. But the other night when my one USB that's awesome. Now you can start doing it. You get movie clips of stuff we've always quoted. You can just start dropping them in while you're streaming. What's a Nubian bitch? You almost made me laugh. I gotta remember to send Jason. Wife and I drove by another house for sale in this area. We didn't look up what it was, but yeah, cost-wise. But I'll see how he's doing with that. Uh-oh, lunch. Go get it. I'm skipping lunch today. But I had a late breakfast, so it's okay. It's okay for me. I probably should, being left-handed, I shouldn't start over there, right? I shouldn't. So the problem is, I'm very much a lefty that was like totally raised in a right-handed world. And I mean, I know everyone goes, well, you're lefty, you're does everything else right-handed. But like, seriously, like I had teachers and shit in elementary school that were like trying desperately to get me to be right-handed. It was the weirdest experience, man. And nowadays, I mean, like if a teacher tried that shit with one of my kids now, oh, I'd go, you know. You would see a part of me you don't ever want to see. Or maybe you do. Like I said, it'd be interesting to see on stream, I'm sure. It'd be an entertaining stream to see me go, yeah, scream motherfucker and throw my canvas and easel across the room, but now that I'm under the regular care of physicians, you know, those guys might be like, hey, you seem to not be doing better. How about we go to the hospital? But no, like I mean, like I said, I grew up with that whole thing. Like it's why I think, and maybe it's just natural ambidextrous nature or something. I don't know. But like when it comes to almost everything else, I do it right-handed. Do. That's it. Do. It's you know, like I throw right-handed, you know, bat right-handed. Like, I mean, part of that's due to the fact that that's the way my dad had to teach me. So I came to those things. Whereas drawing, I guess drawing and writing, you just sort of pick up on your own. You have people have to show you how the letters work, but it's not often that, like, at least for me, you know, when I was helping my kids, I didn't grab the pencil and show them how to do the letters. I just made those little dotty things, you know, and helped them that way. Well, it's certainly weird though, because that was a second or third grade teacher trying to change me into a righty. I convinced her otherwise by I did my spelling homework that week in both hands. Like I did it left-handed, I did it right-handed to show her how bad it was right-handed. It's like my handwriting is normally borderline illegible, but when it was in the right hand, it was. I mean, I might as well have just submitted the thing in, you know, Sanskrit. Like, there was no way she was reading it. Of course, I'm thinking to myself nowadays that, you know, part of that might have been because they were teaching cursive at the time. And for us lefties, they had to order special books and shit. Maybe she just didn't want to do that. Or maybe she didn't have enough of them. Not that it's an excuse, but. So, I will say this. If you did not catch the finale of the painting last night of the self-portrait, you are not going to get to see it. Or if you are going to get to see it, you are not going to get to hear any of the ramblings I had. Not that that's ever worth anything. But I put on actual Christmas music, and then I just put on my regular stuff that I normally listen to in my head. Which, by the way, I'm not listening to anything. That's why I'm having trouble focusing. Oh, wait, no, stop. Why did you go off? Why are these headphones in this? Like I wasn't listening to anything. It should be charged. Let's try it again. That sounds like we beat properly. There we go. But no, so I had my regular music playing and everything, like, out loud, which means for Twitch, they mute everything. And I've already been told my video was pulled off of YouTube when I tried to transfer it over to there. And I'm going to let that slide. I'm not going to try to fight it and say, like, oh, it was background music, yeah, whatever, blah, blah. I think that's going to be a little bit of a punishment. Because it's weird that, like, all my finales, when it comes to the finishing and painting, nobody's ever there. It's very bizarre. It cracks me up that the and this happens on Instagram too. The like post right before the final one always seems to do better than the finished piece. And I don't know why that is. It's a little, not insulting, but a little concerning. You know. And the same thing seems to be true with the episodes. So, the truth be told, I guess the other night there was nobody here for the second to last episode either. But the one before that was cool. NetDev came by, I think. I think it was that one. Oh, that reminds me. Shit. Thank you to and somebody said, fuck. Now I'm forgetting who it was. I got a new. Oh, it's Miss Sparta. Mrs. Sparta. That's it. It's Mrs. Sparta 9. I'm sorry. I did remember it. Okay. Thank you very much for the follow, by the way. I forgot to say that. She followed the link off of NetDev's screen and came on over, and I think that I appreciate that very much. Oh, damn, I think Mike left. I wanted to show him something. So, again, this is what we're going to be doing for the rest of the year. I mean, it's 5 episodes. Right? And I mean, 2 of them are on fucking holidays. So it's not like it's a big thing here. Like, look, I'm not actually expecting anybody today, to be honest. The fact that Mike stopped in is great. That's pretty much where we're at. Everybody's got shit to do today. I just want to make sure that I'm, at least on my end, I'm keeping my end up, you know? Like, yeah, it's much earlier than I would normally do on a Monday, but that's because I'm going to be at my family's house, my parents. Yeah, I'm always at my house, but my family's house. You know. I've told my wife to kind of start thinking about this almost like I mean, I know it's nowhere near the same level, but like as like a news anchor or whatever, like kind of situation. Like look, the schedule is what the schedule is. I really can't get out of it too much. You know, you can pull like the better shift on Christmas Eve or whatever, those cases, but you're still going to get stuck on it at some point. Speaking of Christmas Eve and stuff, family, unfortunately, I gotta state this one a little bit because I read the article and it hits home just because I used to be this stupid kid. And I know it's going to sound bad because what I'm about to say is that I'm calling the kid stupid, but it was stupid. That led to the death. 2 kids died in our area last night. They were actually from Delaware, but they died up on McDade Boulevard, not very far from here, over in Folsom. And they were in a car accident. They were doing 70 miles an hour on McDade Boulevard, which is a 35 mile an hour posted speed limit. They lost control of their car and hit a telephone pole, which ripped their car in half. And I just, yeah, there was a posting went sort of viral, I guess, of the police officer who showed a ticket of a kid speeding, like kind of similarly. You know, it was like 90 miles an hour and like a 40 zone or something like that. And he was like, "Please don't make me have to go to your parents on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day and tell them that you're dead." And then this happens around here, like the next day. That's kind of sad. I mean, it's not kind of sad; it is sad. But and look, this is someone who, like I said, I was a moron when I was younger. I remember at one point doing a well over 100 miles an hour at one point in like a 40 zone down in Delaware. And it's just like, it's stupid. Just don't do it. I don't know how we end up like not dead. Because I wasn't even familiar with the road. It wasn't even like, it's like, not that that's a better way to do it, but like if you at least know your road, you're at least slightly not as stupid. And maybe these kids knew McDade Boulevard, maybe they didn't. I don't know. But either way, just don't do it. I used to drive like that, like crazy on a back road in Springfield, leaving my the restaurant I used to work at. And it's like, that road was notorious for getting fucking deer on it and shit. No, stupid. I mean, yeah, there's no... Yeah, I was likely not going to get a speeding ticket because cops never patrolled back there. But I also could have hit a deer and been... And I was always driving angry, you know, I was always aggravated from a bad night at work or something when I do it. And you gotta learn not to do that shit. That's why, like, at work, like, when I leave work even now, like, I purposely drive, like, so much, like, I am, like, if I feel I'm angry, I'm, like, the anti-angry driver suddenly. Like, I know, you know, like, okay, we need to watch our shit. And I'll get people behind me sometimes that are, like, you know, pissed off that I'm only doing, you know, 70 in the middle lane or something. It's like, dude, fucking calm your fucking tits. Solace and some peace of mind, whatever, just as long as I don't feel so desperate. Long as so we are less desperate. So we can paralyze over you. I'm trying to see how it looks to you guys. You know what? I'm just playing all my music, so the Christmas music is coming in. We're gonna let it slide again. Oh, dreaming. I'm sorry. I'm dreaming of the white Christmas. I thought it was the other one. Come on. Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. Almost like too dark in that spot, I think. That's right. Okay. Oh, there's actually a second one. I'll catch that. I thought it was funny as hell, by the way, today when I had to shave my beard because my wife hates it. So the painting, the self-portrait was finished, so off went the beard. And so I posted it on Instagram before and after the shaved face, and I put Sarah McLachlan's "I Will Remember You." If you guys listen really carefully, by the way, you have to listen real carefully. You may actually hear my wife's eyes still rolling from when I showed her the video of that. My heart is free to run. I thought I brought the little pencil eraser in, but I don't know where I went to. Trying to make sure I get like a little bit of highlight there. Just a little. Alright, so do you think it's possible? And by the end of January, 32 more followers. That's a big number, I know. Especially because it's right now only me watching, I think. So I think I might go on and eat. Not reading him as a viewer right now. Saved by the river now. Saved by the river now. Oh, yes. Something's wrong. Never taste the love. Because again, nobody's shouting, I don't know what to say, so I'm just gonna spit whatever comes out from my head. A buddy of mine that lives in Georgia actually posted a thing that I guess they found like a significant amount of ice in water form, I guess, is how the article went. I'm a little fuzzy on it now again. There's something I read during work, and anything I read during work is a little... It's not going to stay around for very long. Because my brain treats it like a work policy. It's like, nah, I don't care. Even if it's something kind of interesting. But anyway, he posted that it was, they found... The way it was written was that they had found... on Mars, a significant amount of water ice. And now you might have heard that pronunciation just then. If you're not from the Philly area, a lot of people pronounce it water ice. Yeah, they call it water, but around here in Philly, it's wooder. W-O-O-D-E-R. That's how it's pronounced. And so the second I saw this article about, how Mars has lots of water ice, and I was just like, holy shit, Ritas will open up anywhere. Couldn't help but think about that. Like, I'm just picturing a Rita's water ice now up on Mars. Some apathetic looking teen Martian, their hands resting on their chin resting on their hands as they're sort of staring out at the window. I got the Swedish fish flavored water ice. I got the. It's stupid, I know, but it was funny to me. And then one of his other friends who's a transplant is like, oh my god, the Philly in me just broke out. And they're like, all I saw was water ice. W-O-D-E, yeah, W-O-O-D-E-R. And I was like, yeah, me too, thank you. I was like... It's something I can't do with this stuff, man. It's great this thing has a sharpener. Like, right there. But it dumps shit out all the time. Even when you think you dump it all out, it's like there's always something hidden there, and it starts dumping all over the page. Menaceart. ¿Dónde está Santa Claus? ¿Dónde está Santa Claus? Mamacita. Where is Santa Claus? Look for him because Christmas Day. The sleeping is not far away. So near the window I'm peeping. I hope he wouldn't get to bring it got some nuts. I'm probably not going to worry about the torn up label in the sole of the shoe there because I don't want to do it. I should be sleeping, but maybe he's not far away. So come to the window I'm peeping, hoping to see him on his sleigh. I hope he won't forget to bring me castanets. Spring being said. Undo. Unventure. Mamacita. ¿Dónde está Santa Claus? Oh, where is Santa Claus? It's Christmas Day. Where is Santa Claus? It's Christmas. Mamacita, I'll go to sleep now. It's where my baby stays. Maybe one of the other Let's Draws I'll do a little comic book work. Haven't done it in a while. I've been home to see my baby. In 99 1/2 days. something's wrong. The key won't unlock this door. Wait a minute, something's wrong. Lord have mercy, this key won't unlock this door. Something going on here. I have a bad, bad feeling that my baby isn't here no more. Just take it. That's alright, I still got my guitar. Look out now. Way back upon the hills. Yonder across the hills. What I love about kneaded erasers, like I feel like it's getting a little too close to the other one, so just tap it a little bit, takes off the upper layer, and your contrast is now increased. So take it along the edge and ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. You've seen that seeing is believing. Your ears and your eyes will be bleeding. Please check to see if you're still breathing. Welcome to the show. I gotta remember to take Champ down. Champ is literally like staring me in the face right now. The self-portrait, thankfully, is hidden by a rack of hats I have here. I'm not looking at myself anymore. was funny though. Now these shoes are almost identical to the ones that I currently have for work, and because these used to be my work shoes. And as I said, I've worn these ones. I wore these ones down because I was broke. I couldn't afford new shoes at the time, so we did what we had to do. I really wanted another pair of these, so I waited till I could afford them. And it's funny that one day I was getting dressed very early in the morning, and I did not sleep well the night before. And so I got up and I, took my shower and I did what I had to do, and I got dressed. All day I'm walking around going, how do my feet not feel right? Like, fuck, my feet hurt. They feel wrong. Like, everything, like, every step hurt, for God's sakes. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like, I felt like I was, like walking peg-legged almost, like, is what it felt like. The thing was, I had put on one of these old shoes with one of my newer shoes. I quite honestly was walking peg-legged in a sense, because these are... They're both the memory foam, but obviously this memory foam had taken a beating. Ugh. I apologize if I come off as low energy. I was up all night. Well, not all night, but after I was done streaming last night, I spent another hour in here getting the studio ready for this best I could. And I finished it up today. You got a real type of thing going down. There's a... What happens to the colored pencil out here? We'll see. Depends on what time it is. What time is it now? I've been streaming for about an hour. I'm supposed to go over to my folks at like 4 o'clock-ish. 4 to 5 area. That's where I should get over. So we'll see where we are at that point. I'm still ahead of schedule. I'll grab some colored pencils out of what color this day. Gonna turn this mother out. Gonna turn this mother out. You got a real type of thing going down, getting down. There's a whole lot of rhythm going round. You got a real type of thing going down, getting down. There's a whole lot of rhythm going round. You got a real type of thing going down, getting down. There's a whole lot of rhythm going round. We want the funk. Give up the funk. We need the funk. Get out of that funk. Thick outline on this, just because again it's like a thin line. Just try to pull it back a little bit. Yeah, if you look right here, just like that. There's the stitching line, but then there's like a little lip over it, so I'm trying to make sure I get that. The stitching line will kind of make this a separate little thing. For now. Turn this mother out. Turn I am surprised I am not getting more of a year or more on feedback or whatever out of my Instagram story. I really expected that. You make me feel so young. You make me feel so spring and fun. And every time I see you, I'm such a happy individual. The moment that you speak, I wanna go and play hide and seek. I wanna go and bounce the moon just like a toy balloon. You and I are just like a couple of tots running across the meadow, picking up lots of forget-me-nots. You make me feel so. Try not to get in the way. A wonderful spring to be found, even when I'm in the ground. You make me feel so young. You make me feel so spring has sprung. Every time I see you, I'm such a happy individual. The moment that you speak, I wanna go and play hide and seek. I wanna go and bounce the moon just like a toy balloon. You and I are just like a couple of tots. I'm trying to get this cord away from me so I don't unplug anything. It's wrapping around my leg. Okay. Give me nuts. You make me feel so young. You make me feel so songs to be sung, bells to be rung, and a wonderful fling to be flung. Even when I'm old and gray. Ha! Joke's on him, I already am old and gray. Oh, wait. Wait. Damn it. Any notifications if keto has been pinging or not. I hope it's been working. And I don't mean like going to a job. I don't consider that like. Well, let's put it this way. And I'm sure I've said it on here before, but like there's to me it's like it's kind of like the same. I have definitions of art in the same way, and it's like you might have heard me say on here before about big A art and little a art, and what I view as the differences between them. And same thing for work to me. Like if say like I keep a journal, not as well as I used to. I think because I usually end up spewing all my mental shit on here, so I don't worry too much about the fucking journal. But the when I write about it, I usually will write, like if I'm writing about my work, as in the job I go to, it's a small W. And then when I write about this is my work, which is a big W. You know you're right. You know you're right. There's someone to come inside. I no longer have to hide. Let's talk about someone else, stinging himself against the mouth. Nothing ever bothers her. She just wants to love herself. I will move away from here. You won't be afraid of fear. If thought was put into this, always knew it'd come to this. Things have never been so swell. I have never felt to fail. Pain. See if I could have popped that mic, but I had a feeling I popped the mic, and then being as I'm not even pointing towards it, that'd be impressive. Soranagino, thank you very much. Thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. How you doing today? Working on your nose? Doing a drawing? Is this something you're going on right now, or is it, I'm gonna try to pop over to... let me do it this way, so I always get screwed up when I try to do it through. Well, I mean, if you want any feedback or anything like that, feel free to put in a link here, and I'll certainly take a look at it. And if anybody else drops in, so I got a couple artists that are pretty good here that follow in on occasion. If they drop in, always help out. Noses suck, trust me. I had to argue with mine for a little bit in the last painting I did. Got the people skills, but he's good with motors. That weird thing by his side, an infantilized sequoia. People walk by, people say, oh boy, bringing a baby into battle. It's really irresponsible and getting them rattled. So you need a break. Get off my back, damn it! I didn't learn parenting. My daddy was a planet. Zandu Hasselfrau, Zandu Hasselfrau. Hey. Wait, oh, well, like the funny thing about like noses in general. Something about this. I don't want to screw up at you badasses thing. Let's turn it on. I mean, I don't know what angle you're working at here, but a lot of times it's even when you think you've got a down slot nose, like that's pointing down, it's actually still got a little bit of lift on it. So like, people always draw this as like the easy thing, but you gotta keep in mind that technically all this is still part of your sinus cavity. So if you're like, you got your bridge, which ends up coming up here, and it's got a lot of weird angles because it's like, and if you got bumps and stuff in there like I do. I took a football to the nose when I was, what, I guess 8 years old. So as you can imagine, I've always been good at sports. And so the football went right through my hands. Pow! Splat. Probably should put my mirror in here so I can actually work off mine and be more specific, but like if you're trying to trace like the way the angles all go, it's like it's kind of cuckoo. There's some that slant up as you're coming near the I can't talk today. Eyebrow ridge, you got the bridge of the nose. It's going to have a little bit, like I said, depending on how many bumps and cracks you got, And then you got the little lift at the bottom. That's where I screwed up yesterday, or not yesterday, but it was a few days ago on the portrait. Was I had my nostril slanting down too far, and it definitely like blunted my nose down a little bit too much. But like, like this is all sort of rounded out. But at the same point that all that's happening, you're also slouching down this way and slouching down that way. Noses are rough. The only thing I would worse than noses are probably ears. Because the ears twist in and out and they get screwed up like crazy. So got where that'll go in. You got like fleshy bit there, but it comes up here. I think that's why I like a lot of comic artists, especially with the ears at least. The nose you always have to do. Oh, like too forward facing? Yeah, anytime you can get a slight angle, if you can just tilt it a little, at least. Forefront, like face forward is a rough, just because you don't get a lot of depth in anything. It's a very aggressive pose too, if you do it really face forward, like it's a... even if your facial expression isn't necessarily aggressive, it's an aggressive, like as a viewer later on, they tend to see it as almost like you're sort of challenging yourself, like or you know, being aggressive towards yourself. How long have you been drawing? I don't know. Yeah, so. I mean, yes, I could say like, oh, since I was a kid, but like, yeah, how old are you? How long have you been working on it? And not this. I mean, not this specific one. How you worked on it, but... Okay. All right. Hold on. Oh, you're back here. I'm gonna grab some books. Need that one. That's poses. That's a good one. And one of my favorites is back here. And where are you? Oh, there you go. There we go. All right. Yeah. See if I can find the page real quick. There's a pretty good bit about noses in this one. This is a great book if you can find this one. Giovanni Savardi. This is a really good one. There was shit, what was his name? Oh, I'm gonna be mad because I can't remember his name. Bridgman's figure drawing. A lot of his books are out of print now, but there was a website for a while. What was it called? It was like the Bridgman Experiment or something like that. That oh, look, a comic. That's sorry. That's one of my comics. But they basically, it might have just been like the Bridgman Archive. They had done a really great job of scanning in a lot of his stuff. He's got a really great breakdown of not just figure drawing, but drawing in general for, especially if you're talking anime or comic books, or any really type of graphic. Got all this stuff about the mouth. Where the fuck's the nose? Should be right in this area. He's got a couple great examples here, but oh, there we go. Stop. Probably walked over a few times. All right. Yeah, these are all about the eyes. Got a little bit about the regarding the nose area. And this also gives you all the scientific names for it. I'll slide it over. Showing the old man. I want to look at this guy over here. But the Bridgman books are really good. Said you're probably not going to find the book itself, but you can find all sorts of good, yummy little bits on there. I don't want to throw it over the top of those thing I'm working on, so I'll put that down there. This one's not bad either. This is much more. I always felt like this was a little more charcoal-y, but this has got a lot of, again, very almost Grey's Anatomy and how it's not the show, but it breaks it down into much more individual pieces. The reason I like the Bridgman book, and like I said, I don't have it, but I've had archives of it for a while. God, don't knock over the microphone. Is because he did things. I'm going to go back to the other page real quick. He did things like talking about putting stuff, not just a figure, but multiple figures. And he liked to talk about hanging them. So if this is your horizon line, and you know, I'm just going to draw I'm just drawing a really shitty figure real quick. But you know, in your poses, you've got the character, you know, blah 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 blah. Yeah, whatever they're talking. Get my hands there. All right. but the thing he talked about was always hanging your figures. So if you've got another figure here in the foreground, you want to have him be as close to that same spot as you can. So now we know his row's here, so we're going to say he's facing this person. You know. At the back of the line, yeah. So now they're talking, but meanwhile, too, you know, so they're like trying to get into a club or something. You know, you got someone, you could do a whole line of people here, but I'm just using this as an example. You're going to do another person back here. Now, obviously, this is all, if these people are all the same height and whatever, you can screw it up a little bit to adjust for that. But, you know, you got another guy like, what the fuck? Why is this taking so long? Yeah. Bitches. But you're hanging them all kind of on that same line. And in doing so, you can pretty much take the perspective. Again, I'm doing this without any triangles or anything like any of my right angle stuff, but you can take that perspective angle of, you know, go along the rib cages. All the rib cages could line up pretty easily. And it's a nice thing that Bridgman did. So. Okay. Oh wow, that's a condition. At least you're working around it, and that's an important thing. You can work around that. You gotta imagine it can keep you focused. You know, certainly on what you're exactly looking at, which should be pretty cool. Does it affect your depth perception? I mean, obviously the peripheral around the edge would be screwed up, but does it affect your depth? And the nice thing about drawing, though, when it comes to depth perception, I gotta pull this because I got Star Wars pulling right in my ears now, is using things like this, though. Then using, I got a triangle. I had a triangle there. Like, you can start looking at things in segments rather than, you know, not one of my prouder moments, but I drove one time when I had like a really bad eye infection on the one eye, and I had to basically drive with one eye closed. So what I ended up having to do to kind of affect, so I wasn't playing, because you lose depth the second you close one eye, like any, was I basically was, all right, I know if the car in front of me, is, instead of focusing on distance, instead of trying to be like, oh, well, the car should be, in a roundabout way, I would look at it like how I normally would. I was only looking at these lines. In other words, like in my distance, I was only trying to figure out on a flat plane, if it was a drawing, basically, how much distance between here and the hood of my car, you know what I mean? Like, looking vertically rather than trying to look out. I was just looking straight up and down. I would not recommend that for people that, can't think that way, I guess. But it's like, as long as I could focus on, okay, if we're way back over here, I need to be stopped by the time the car is, I was guesstimating like an inch from my hood to the back of the end of their car. I had to be stopped by then. So, not one of my prouder moments I had to drive like that, but my work's a pain in the balls about getting out of it, so. Let me see if I can find that real quick. So that Bridgman book would, I think, help a lot with your 3D. Oh, I imagine, yeah, without the peripheral, it wouldn't let you do that at all. George Bridgman, I think. But assisting in your art, this would definitely help a lot. Lost that link. My other computer died on me. This might be it. I don't know if this is the exact same one, but really any of these Bridgman books. Oh shit! Hold on. No, bastard. I didn't say what you do. That's what I get for using the touch screen. This is a PDF of it, so it should be cool. Oh, and the other book I was going to recommend for this is focused primarily on comics, but it works pretty much everywhere. If you can find this sucker, I'm sure this has been reprinted a couple times. This is an older print. This one I've had for a very, very long time. But and they actually even have a YouTube version of it now. Well, yeah, I'd imagine, like I said, because if you can't see around the size at all, that'd be intense. But I'm glad you're still trying to draw through it. That's great. And as I said, there's ways around it. There's ways to, like I said, more. You're gonna have to fall more under a technical side of things. I would say, like, if you can work from prints, especially if you're trying to draw more realistically, draw a print off it. Yeah, take a photo, whatever you're trying to do, or get a photo from online, wherever, and like take measurements. Literally take their ruler and go like, okay, well, you know, I got a good close up. I don't want to use Thor's little nose there, you know, but like literally like sit there and be like, okay, that is, you know, 1.5 centimeters long, and use as much as you can to switch back and forth. And this is, like I said, this is really a great book for anything, great game design. As strange as it sounds, because they talk so much about storytelling, and what they mean by that is like not just like, you know, writing a book, but like literally about setting up scenes and creating a world for these guys to exist in. See, when I was a kid, I fucked up when I bought this book the first time. I literally skipped over everything until I got to the let's draw the figure, and I missed like all this good shit about perspective from so long, and how to make, you know, how to draw these things in, starting simply and working on a technical aspect. So when I tried to break into comics later, I was very far behind. And I didn't do it, so I ended up breaking into comics. So that's alright. I actually gave up on that before I even graduated high school. Really, I tried it again a little bit later, but It did not work very well. I only had one book, well, two books of the same, 2 issues of the same book produced. They were free giveaways for a local radio station. So, but storytelling, like I did a little bit of trying to learn game design. Are you using like Blender or anything like that, or are you just staying on like a raw kind of pencil design version of it for now? Blender was a cool program to play with. Y'all acid jam. Shit. Goddamn. Get off y'all acid jam. Shit. Goddamn. Get off y'all acid jam. Best of luck to you. And again, as I said, I don't know what type of games you're trying to design, but even like in simple games, like a little bit of storytelling is like huge. Like I said, it's world building and you know, just setting up like think about like say even something like the old Mario game, the old Super Mario Brothers. You know, as silly as it sounds, imagine it without those bushes. As stupid as that sounds, just take the bushes out, you know, which what they ended up doing, that was the same sprite as the clouds. But that's not, you know, they did it. They made a bit of a world just by adding, you know, those little elements. And actually, the whole design of the first, like, intro area was something added late in the game because they I mean, it falls under teaching gameplay, but it is storytelling. And the way the reason they set up the Goomba is like your first character to fight. Cat ears can do that. Yeah, they're a little tricky because again the way they curve in, and they're a little funkier than human ears. Like any animal ears. Whereas, again, I'm going to flip back to this page. You know, I said ears suck probably more than noses. You know, whereas our ears, you're a little, you know, everyone's a little more used to looking at our ears because they're ours, you know. Weird lumps and again curves and the way things go into each other, because the part that leads back here into the canal, yeah, feeds out of this. So it's like, well, that's what I mean. It's like we're used to our ears, but then cat's ears and stuff, theirs are not just because of the shape, but like they have like weird little flaps of skin. And again, if you're kind of going anime, you can simplify some of that stuff. But the way they kind of curve in and the way their ears, they're like fucking radar dishes, you know? Like that's the shit your cat's hears. Yeah, if you have a cat, I have 2. You know, like they're picking up on shit that you have no idea about. And they got like those weird little extra flaps and stuff around the edges. They're rough. They're rough. I did one painting of my cat for the first time this year, and it was not it wasn't a crazy rough one, but the background was very easy, which made it easier to get through it. That's just it. They're weird. They're weird little just trying to do this out of my head. And again, you know what? Try to grab a shot of the cat if you can real quick with your phone, and just like I said, take it and start just of the ear. If you can get one of just the ear, just as quick as you can, and just measure them out. Try to draw like, you know, take this print. I do it on mine all the time. Like, draw the actual, you know, as the curve kind of appears. It'll help out, you know. And I'm talking on the picture, not on, you know. And then once you're in the picture of you're drawing, it'll help out 1,000 times. And again, post it up. I'll see if I can do anything to help. I mean, you know, if you want to whisper it, if you don't want it on here, that's fine. I'll do my damnedest to assist. If I can't do it, I probably have at least a resource I could send you to that is something I've used at some point. Because I'll be honest, if you're trying to talk about more anime style, that's where I will say I will falter for you. But I have a buddy of mine that he actually he produces comics locally here in Philly, and he actually has an anime convention that he runs. So I mean, if I start stuttering and I don't know what I'm going to, you know, how to assist with that type of style, I will most certainly refer him to you, because he knows his shit. He is like, in the Philly area here, he is generally considered, he was a Geek of the Year, something like that, a few years ago. Nerd of the Year, whatever, I forget how they refer to it. But for all his work with it, you know, the comic industry in this area and stuff. Yeah, I'm U.S. Philadelphia, right out. Yeah, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia. I went to school in the city, and now I'm in the suburbs right outside of it. Okay, there's a K there. Is that it? It's supposed to be Israel though, right? Probably just typo. Assuming. That's awesome. I like getting people from like all sorts of like all over the world. That's I think it's great. Okay, yeah, okay. Hey, typos happen. Let's put it this way. Alright, my name's Brian. I get brain all the time when people are writing stuff to me, like at work and stuff. Like literal work emails. People will call me brain. And then what's worse is that I've done it. I'm typing my own damn name and I've written brain. And I've sent it without paying attention. I'm just, you know, and I'm typing like crazy, and then I send it and I go, oh shit. So maybe these people actually think my name's Brain. I don't know. I'm a laboratory mouse bent on global domination. 22 years old. I don't even think... Would you understand that reference? Do you know who Pinky and the Brain are? Animaniacs? I had my niece convinced for a while that that actually wasn't. That my name really was Brain. Ah, it happens. You know what? You figure it out. Look, it's like this. I mean, like, yeah, especially just like, dealing with just this country in general, like just here in the U.S. Technically, we all speak English for the most part, you know. I mean, there's no real. Well, yeah, I guess not. I couldn't speak that for a lick, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But we have so many weird dialects, you know, like here in Philly. I was talking about it earlier today. That they did a discovery on Mars where they found water, and you can hear it already. I'm saying water, like as if it's spelled like wood, you know, like. And it's just that's how it is in Philly. Whereas you go up to like say Boston, and it's like speaking another fucking language up there. They'll say things for stuff that you should know. Like my cousins are from Boston. I went up there one time. She asked me if I wanted a tonic. I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like a tonic?" Like as a kid, I was probably 18 years old. All I knew was gin and tonic. So I thought she's asking me if I wanted a gin and tonic. I'm like, no. She's like, oh, come on. We have Coke. We have Sprite. I'm like, oh, it was soda. And she said, soda? Like she was, yeah. But it's like if you try to talk to sometimes just people that are like just a state or two over sometimes. You might as well be. Hell, here in Pennsylvania. Here's a great one. Here in Pennsylvania, right? You have Philadelphia over here. You got Pittsburgh over here, right? These two, first off, we hate each other. Same state, and we all hate each other. Over here in Pittsburgh, do I have one? I just want to, so everyone knows what I'm talking about. Oh, shit. I can't open these drawers. I don't have one. That's a speaker. Well, a soda is a pop, you know. And what else do they use? Rubber band is a gum band. It's like so, like there's just such weird shit. So it can be totally, yeah. And then you start throwing typos in on top of it, and it's. I have to deal with people from Boston all the time in my work, and it's like, oh God, don't start. I really don't want to have to call my cousin to have it interpreted. Well, my cousin, all right, now here's one. The big thing in Boston is they don't really hard pronounce their R's. So, like up there, they have Harvard University, which is Harvard. Right? It's Harvard. And my cousin, her name is Barbara. She goes by Barb. Now, we did not actually meet her. She's cousin, I think, to, like, by marriage from my great uncle. It's kind of weird. One of those. They're definitely cousins. We just the relationship is kind of bizarre, and how it works out. But when we first met them was when my great aunt had passed away, and so we went to Washington D.C. for the funeral. And we met them and we hung out with them, like, you know, for a couple of days, and we had a great time with them and all that. And it was like great to have these new people in our lives, type thing. And then my mom got their address and she sent them a Christmas card. And as I said, she doesn't pronounce her R's. So she says her name was Bab. It's Bab and Steve. And everyone around her, all the cousins from Boston, they called her Bab. It's Bab. So we're all like, oh, so okay. So my mom sends her a Christmas card to Bob, B-O-B, and Steve. Thinking it was short for like Bob, you know, Was it Bobaran? No, like Bobby Sue or something like that. And she calls my mother dying of laughter. She's dying of laughter. My mom's like, what's going on? And she's like, I got you, cat. Oh, you got my Christmas card? Yeah. Oh my God. She goes, Bob and Steve. Oh, that's hilarious. And she's like, what is it? And she goes, it's Bob. She's like, that's what I wrote. Bob, like B-A-R-B, Barbara. And oh my God, my mom's like, oh my God. She was cracking up because it's like, oh, we had no fucking idea. I just want some more base education. Okay. Like I said, it's understandable. It's cool though. That's like a little bump. Oh God. Yeah, I could well, you know, no, I guess we can. I don't know how it would compare, but again, I don't know how this would go via language-wise. But I mean, we have a good number too. They've like I have a friend. His name's Casey. His daughter's name's Casey as well, and they're, you know, like it's a little. It was a little unique. It was like, okay, I guess, like, yeah, it's kind of neat though. My oldest her name's Alexis, and the reason that was the final name that we settled on was because my ex-wife, who was my girlfriend at the time when we had her, wanted to call her Alex. She wanted her to be almost like that kind of, gender neutral or whatever, I guess, in the name. Oh yeah, I could see that. It's not really a gender neutral thing, but my daughter's kindergarten class ended up having 4 different Jacks. I'm like holding up there. 4 different Jacks in her class. I mean, again, at least you know they were their boy or girl, but Jesus, she had she'd be talking to us and she'd be like, Jack did this and Jack did that, and it's like, oh. Yeah, well, I mean, it's I guess. See, when I named her, the book that, like the kids book that, or kids name book that I used, had it listed as the feminine of Alexandra. But I've found it now listed almost exclusively as basically based entirely off of Alexei from Russia. Like from Russian. 5 Bens? My God. Like over here, and that's not, I won't say an unusual name, but it's not like not anymore, at least a common name to have Bens. My friend Nick, who works with Casey, has a kid named Ben. Named after a Pearl Jam song, which is named after a movie. Which I don't think he actually knew what the movie was about. But anyway. Yeah, so it's like with Alexis, it was like they found it based on Alexei or whatever it's listed as, which I guess is Russian for helper or something along those lines. And I can't find an example that reads it like the baby book I used to pick her name with. And in the end, we ended up derailing my ex-wife's plans for calling her Alex because my niece at the time, her name's Samantha, and she always goes, at least in our house, by Sammy. Um, and so Alexis just became Allie because Sammy and Allie, like, it was just easier to keep them together in that kind of sense. Because Sammy was always over at my parents' house. Because just like me, my brother had her young. So it was like... Wait, 3 Toms? Hold on, I'm trying to think. You got Tom Hiddleston? There's a bunch of Chris's in the Marvel Universe. Are we talking about the Avengers characters or just the movies and the actors? Hold on. There's 3 Toms. All start with H's. Oh yeah, Tom Holland. That's right. Okay, yeah, okay. Tom Hiddleston. Okay, the last names all start with H. So I'm like, wait, hold on. I was thinking about the characters. I'm like, who starts with H? Only Hawkeye, right? Okay. Hold on. Who else is the? Hold on. Oh, Hardy. Okay, yeah, Hardy's. Well, he's not really an Avenger yet, right? Hardy's still Venom, but Venom is sort of like kind of is it part of the Marvel? Maybe. They're still not clear about that. They've been kind of hinting that they'll keep it sort of there, but not really. Yeah, the Chris's are ridiculous. All they gotta do is get Chris Pine in there somewhere, and they've got the all of them. They'll have like literally all the Hollywood Chris's. And speaking of Holland, damn it, where is that trailer? Because I was told that trailer was supposed to be out like 2 weeks ago. It's supposed to come out the same week as the Captain Marvel trailer did, and the Endgame trailer. It's still not out. Yeah? Yeah, they like to repeat themselves, don't they? That's alright. As long as they don't end up, Wait, is there, what's the other Russo brother name? Is that Sam? No. Was it Paul Russo and, shit. I gotta be looking up. No, close it all out. Jesus. Anthony. This is another Tony. Other Tonys. That cast is so huge now. So who do you think's dying? Because I think Cap's an obvious one, right? If he's not dying, he's getting displaced some way. Cap's got to go somewhere, unfortunately. His contracts are up. I heard a rumor, and I was like, what? I mean... Oh yeah, Loki's still alive. Somebody pointed out that when he creates a dagger in his hand, when Thanos was choking him, or when he was in front of Thanos before he started choking him, that it was in the wrong hand from what we've seen him mostly use. And some people were saying, well, he was trying to keep it hidden, or let Thor know he was going to do it, but somebody says he's typically, and I guess it was his left hand, and so he's typically right-handed when he uses it or something, or using that as proof that it was another Loki magic thing. Plus, they're doing somehow they're doing like a Scarlet Witch Loki TV show on that Disney streaming when that comes out. Which I never quite understood. I was like, well, expecting a Vision Scarlet Witch thing, but not Loki and Scarlet Witch. I don't quite know where that's coming from, but I heard a rumor that someone was saying that, you know, Tony will end up possibly sacrificing himself, since Robert Downey Jr.'s contract should be up too, or damn near up, and that he'll be filling like a Uncle Ben, and he'll be the one who says something along the lines of great power, great responsibility, you know, type thing. Well, the end was, I mean, it was kind of what it had to be, unfortunately. Did you ever read the comic, the Infinity Gauntlet comic? I mean, obviously it was a bigger, as in like hundreds of characters and all that shit going on at that time, but I'm gonna break my rusty cage and run. I'm gonna break my rusty cage. You didn't read the comics? Alright, yeah, it's definitely a story I recommend if you can get to it. That graphic novel is a pretty cool one. I hadn't read it actually until 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Maybe 3 years ago. I'm trying to think when I bought it. My local comic shop was doing a sale, and I was like, alright, I'm picking this up. I haven't read this yet, and I really should. And, you know, I mean, they're splitting that story smack dab in the middle of it, unfortunately, because it's so big that even with what they're doing, even if it's smaller, it's still huge on the camera, you know, on the screen. I mean, if you read the comic, it's really not a matter of will everybody come back. They all will at some point. You accidentally saw Avengers. Did you stumble in? Did you have something that I had? My wife and I went to see a movie a few years ago. It was Identity. That's what the movie was called. That was the movie. It's like the horror film where they're all like in a hotel or whatever, or motel, and it turns out that everybody's personalities are. I don't want to spoil the movie too much, but anyway, it was like a thriller movie, you know, horror thriller movie, and it was at the same time as the movie Holes, and the theater was changing the signs because the theater we were waiting for was going to be Identity, but they were playing Holes at the time, or no, they were going to play Holes next. That's what it was, and we were waiting for Identity, another one down or something. So they start switching the signs out. Well, people would come out of Holes, and they'd walk down to the bathroom or whatever, and then they'd come back, and because it had switched down a theater or two, they see the sign Holes, and they walk right back into the new one. And it was so these people are walking with their kids, expecting this kids movie Holes, and walking right into a horror film. I was cracking up because you see the parents walking. Oh, I guess we're over here. And they wander into the theater, and then like you just see them turn the F around and just run out. It's like, well, I guess I read the scary part. I was just living through TV. Okay, all right, that's understandable. Just making sure you didn't just stumble into a theater. Though if the theater's empty enough too, you could always just. Anyway, I'm not going to condone theater hopping. Do it. It was a good time, man, because like a bunch of parents did it, and that's what was cracking me up. It's like none of you ever thought to like because it was like 2 theaters down. You had to clearly walk a little farther. But then again, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. See, I worked at the Philadelphia Phillies ballpark for a while as a host. So I was a guy like who would show people where their seats were and everything. And they rotate you all the time. So like every 10 games, you're moved to another area. And I was working the area right near the visiting dugout. And it was so it's literally there's a goddamn building. Like if you go look down the steps, there is a building where the players are sitting in. And these people would come in and they're like, I don't know if my seat's here or not. And you want to look at them and go, well, was there a big ass building in front of your seats? Because if there's not a thing there at the bottom of the steps where it says Philadelphia Phillies, you're not sitting here. And they were like, I'm like, let me see your ticket. Like, you should know where you're at because there's, like I said, it's a big landmark. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised when people get this place. Oh, well, it was huge here too. Believe you me. I'm actually disappointed in myself that I did not get out to see Ant-Man in theaters, unfortunately. Just the money wasn't there for it. What are you talking about, Alexa? Cancel. Alright. I like having that thing in this studio, and I hate having that thing in this studio. Anyway. I definitely want to see Captain Marvel in theaters, though. Black Panther was cool for me, especially. I had a neat experience happen there. We had we went, and like a family of African American people come sit next to us, and their little kid was like sitting next to me. He's probably maybe 5 years old, if that. Might be even younger. And you know, for this is a big thing, man. This is a to the kids. I know there's Blade, and a lot of people point out, but it's like Blade was an R-rated movie. It's not for kids. So here's to this kid the first real title character black superhero on screen for him. You know, like has a full comic history. It's not like Meteor Man or any of these other movies that showed up before, and Blank Man or any of that stuff. Here's, you know, Black Panther, man. It's fucking big ass superhero, and he's title card, you know, on it. And so I know this kid was like super stoked going in there, but he's also young enough to not quite know how movies work. So when Black Panther falls off the cliff, and you know, like the middle point of the movie, he started crying. I mean, he fucking broke down. And I was like, oh my god, I can't even imagine what it's like for this kid. There's no way that I can ever put myself, because unfortunately, you know, or fortunately I should say, I guess I don't know how to put it as, I guess, you know, definitely fall under like a white privilege category here in the US. It's like 90% of the superheroes and shit I've seen since growing up have all been white, and they maybe die, quote unquote, in a movie, and then they come back. That's how it works. I'm aware of this. To this kid, they just knocked off like the thing he was looking forward to. They just knocked him off, you know? And so he was borderline inconsolable. And I just wanted to like lean back to like, yo, little dude, he'll be back. He's cool. You know, like it's fine. Don't get freaked out. He'll be back. He'll be back. And I just felt like it was so weird because I could not really put myself in his shoes. And it was like a unique experience to be like, to see it from that kid's eyes, you know, and get what he's going through only by the fact that I'm sitting right next to him, and his mom's trying to, you know, like console him, like, no, he's not dead. He's the title character of the movie, you know, like, it was cool. It was a very cool experience, especially because like right here in the U.S. right now, there's a lot of like racist shit going on. So you know, having that little moment, especially, like, it was like really cool. I despise some of the racist shits that are walking around and are openly now. It used to be one thing when they were hidden away, but to have them now be emboldened kind of sucks. So to have this little kid having to, like, I got my first black superhero and then he's dead. Fuck! You know? I mean, he didn't say fuck, but. That's an awesome movie. My daughter, my youngest, got that. She wanted some Studio Ghibli stuff, and my oldest is heavy into Studio Ghibli. I like a number of the things. I just haven't seen enough to say I'm a huge fan. I'm working on it. We're working through it. I mean, I love Mononoke and stuff, but we watched Spirited Away. That was, yeah. Unfortunately, there's some things that, you know, to my let's see, she was 6, I think, at the time. No, 7. She was 7 when we first watched it. You can't really explain what some of the stuff that's happening in there is directly related to. You know, it's kind of hard to explain what a bathhouse is, and I could not convince my wife, though, to let us watch it in Japanese. I don't speak Japanese, but I like to watch everything like that in Japanese. And I do get to, like that or a Kurosawa movie. My thought being that the original director, you know, was directing these people to speak in Japanese, so the acting of it is going to be a little better, even if you can't understand the words exactly. The raw emotional elements will be better. It's a habit my son has picked up now. Yeah, Miyazaki. Well, he was like a main, I mean, like the main dude there, right? So, I mean, yeah, that's a crazy movie. Like, and it's funny because you think about some of the stuff that they do over there. That, I can't say that Disney doesn't. They certainly did. They used to be a lot more brazen with knocking people off, you know, or having, like, at least hints of death more often. But the fact that they're, you know, like, say, like I said, like Mononoke even, like, there's full-on decapitations and shit. Wind Rises. I'll have to put that one on there. We tend to add at least one. Actually, I don't know if she did this year. We tend to. Oh yeah, no, and if they're not directly showing it, they're certainly like, you know, there's a lot of talk about what Totoro. Now they try to deny this, I guess, but like Totoro is related to a like a murder incident or something like that. I was gonna say we try to add at least one Studio Ghibli movie to our collection a year at this point. What's the last one we bought? Oh, you know what? She might have gotten Ponyo for the kids this year. I think she might have gotten Ponyo. She got Totoro and Spirited Away last year. I think one was for Christmas, one was for her birthday. I'm trying to think what we. I don't get to watch the movies as much anymore with the kids as I used to. I could say it's because of the streaming, but it's not really because of the streaming. It's so much as it is about I'm using my streaming schedule to just keep on top of my art. I had run into a situation where I stopped creating really anything for a couple years, and it eventually led to a full breakdown. And I started painting again and doing all, after the breakdown was kind of passed and after I started my meds, and then but I was still very much on it's a little cold tonight, and that means the studio's gonna be cold, and I don't want to go out there and be cold, so I'll just not paint tonight. But now that I use a Twitch stream as my excuse. Like, okay, well, I paint, typically Monday nights. I'm only on here earlier because it's Christmas Eve and I got to go to my folks' house, so for our annual thing there. So I'm like, all right, we'll get that done here, and then we'll this way at least I still stream on Monday. That keeps me working. I will put that, most certainly. That is. As soon as I'm done here, that will be on the list. I gotta let my kid watch my older. I was just say my older. My oldest one has, but let my son watch Lunatics. He's about that right age now, I think. That one I might be able to borrow off my oldest. My oldest daughter's your age. She's 22. And so she's moved out and has her own movie collection. But I think I can borrow that one from her. Because she is a big collector of the... Actually, does she have The Wind Rises? No one always see the... it's Fireflies. I can't remember the... I heard that's a really, like... I heard it's a very sad movie. Like, it's really not for kids. Like, because they'll just get bummed the hell out. But it's a very beautiful film. I want to see that one. Well, the animation's just phenomenal. And again, I got, I'll go back to what I harped on. I love the storytelling of them. They do such a good job of world building that it's just like I adore when things like that, But people do it right. When they do, really solid storytelling. It's just like, and it's all the little shit. It's not the big stuff. I think people get easily fooled by the big stuff sometimes in movies, and so like if you don't pay attention to little elements of it, and I want to specify, I'm not necessarily making like here's a great one that somebody actually just pointed this out the other day, and I was like, holy shit, that's right. And it's something you don't notice until you start to think about it. Right. The movie Home Alone. Okay? It's a very popular movie. It has been for years. It comes on every goddamn time this time of year. Alright? And somebody pointed out the fact that the McAllister house itself, not just like, oh, they put up Christmas decorations. Like, it's so Christmassy in that house. Like, it's unnatural. And they're talking about the fact that the walls are red, pots and pans are green. There's like, you know, like it's all that weird little stuff that you cannot mistake that movie for being anything but a Christmas movie because it's so fucking over the top with it. But you never, you know, like I said, it was literally pointed out the other day, like literally in an article I was reading. I was like, oh my god, how did I miss all that? Like, how did I miss that much blatant in your face, you know? But it's because they wanted you to not notice it. But, you know, like it's just what puts you in that, you are in a Christmas spirit right now. You are going to be in this spirit, god damn it. It's little storytime bits like that. And that's what I do love. I mean, there's some animes that I think, like, especially like I guess more, and I understand it being more of a serial, I guess like an actual day-to-day episode type thing, you know, or whatever. Like say Pokemon or whatever, where they definitely half-ass some stuff when it comes to that. Like it's very simple backgrounds and it's very. And then there's like crazy ones. What was the other one I used to watch? I haven't watched it in a long time. In the US it's called X1999, I think. Or X99, something like that. But it's just called X over in Japan. I remember the art on that being really like tight. And again, like you're never confused about where you are, you know, in relation to everything else, I guess. And that's always big to me. It's like, see, for me as a comics fan growing up, especially, I was unfortunately a comics fan in the 90s. And I say unfortunately in the fact that, like, don't get me wrong, there were some amazing artists that were around at that time. Jim Lee would be the top, you know, absolute tier in my mind. I loved his work. But even Jim in the 90s was really bad about some of his storytelling elements. So they'd draw like full pages of comics, you know, you'd have a page of, you know, that you're reading, and you might have, you know, say like 4 panels like this or something, and you won't see a background in any of them. Like you won't see anything. It'll be angry face, you know, guy, and then other angry guys, you know, and it's just like speed lines or whatever back here, you know, because that looks like 2 eyes, but like, you know, and then you know, angry guy yelling at you like this, and they got their arms are about to punch like it's Wolverine about to hit somebody with the claws or whatever, you know, and again speed lines, nothing drawn, and then you know, like he knocks them out like and for some reason it was always the other fist. This one shouldn't be the one that's hitting because it should be this one over here. That's the one that's cocked ready to punch. But for some reason it'd be this one, and again, no fucking backgrounds. And it was like, you know, I blame Rob Liefeld for all of that. But, you know, that's, oh shit, just throw my lead. Where did my lead go? Great, I can't move. Fucking, I think it's gone. There it is. Okay. Call the record again. Try not to knock over my own camera. But like, so again, that's one of those reasons why when I talked about that Marvel book, I skipped over that shit. Oh yeah, the Ghibli music's great too. Almost any music, and almost any music. Oh, I know what you were saying. Yeah, I got it. Any music is underrated, for the most part. And it's very rarely that people pay attention to what any movie, even shitty movies. They have their music's almost never. The amount that the music can do to a scene is just amazing in any movie, really. Like take yeah. I'll use the first one because it's the best one. The rest are you can kind of go with, but like say, you take a look at the first Pirates of the Caribbean. Just try to like knock the music out of that one, and it's like, you know. Well, as you can tell, hopefully from the background noise, I do tend to be a fan of. Well, I'm a fan of a lot of music. I can't say like I'm. Like right now, what I'm listening to is Mozart and Bach right now, right through here, and it'll flip over. The next song could very easily be heavy metal, but I love just classic Japanese flute and stuff like that. Here in Philly, we have a fantastic in the Philadelphia Art Museum. They have actually in their Asian wing, they actually had a legitimate tea house built. It's actually like the whole tea house and prayer house built into the museum, and they have like legitimate tea ceremonies and all stuff in there every now and then. But even when they're not doing that stuff, man, you go into that. That's where I actually will end my museum trips there. I'll run into I'll just use this kind of like a place to kind of regather myself. I'll sit down there and they have basically music like this playing very, very lightly in the background, and they have a Zen fountain going, which I did a painting of actually. I had to finally do a painting of it. It's lovely. It's very soothing shit. Yeah, I like when they get mistranslated, which happens quite often from what I understand, or they get badly translated. That's why I say I like to. That's why I tend to watch the. And even though they'll subtitle the songs, and they still get a little weird sometimes. Yeah, I don't. That's why I like to listen to it all in there, like I said, in Japanese, even though I don't speak a damn lick of it. I tried to learn it before my mental breakdown, but it did not stick because of the breakdown. Lyrics. Hold on, wait, what are you doing? Sorry, my. Alright, froze on me. I didn't drop any. YouTube thing. Alright, at least it's what pulling up. Sorry. Whatever it's going to do is going to try to play, so I'll have to wait on that one. Yeah, I had to, like, my mom drops in on here quite often trying to boost my numbers as best she can. It's like, Mom, I really don't care, but, like, it's just keeping, like I said, I'm just trying to keep, my schedule, just keep me working. I mean, it would be great to hit affiliate, sure, but I don't really give a crap. But she'll drop in here sometimes. She's like, you were talking to that person for a while. Who are they? I'm like, I have no idea. It's like I don't have a clue. That's all right. Turn around and you should never have known her. Well, it's funny explaining it sometimes to and look, I most certainly do start to fall under the older generation in a lot of ways. I mean, like I said, I have a daughter your age, even though I'm not quite that old. Yeah, because I had her very young. But my I had to explain to my mom one time that I was talking with a guy on my Facebook who's been a very good friend of me on Facebook. We talk all the time. We we steal from each other a lot from like whatever memes we're posting, etc. And and I'm like, yeah, so and so, and she's like, oh, where do you know them from? I was like, I don't know him. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I don't know. I've never met him. What? How are you friends with him on Facebook? He liked the Preston Steve show, which is the radio station around here, and we started talking through there, and we became friends. I've never met him in my life. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, he's one of my best friends on Facebook as far as how we deal with each other, but yeah, I don't know him from Adam. I'd like to think I would at least spot him if I met him on the street, but maybe not. And meanwhile, there are people like I literally hung out with in high school. And it's like, I mean, I'll see them on Facebook and stuff on occasions, but it's like, we don't talk very often. We don't really hit too many likes on each other's things, whatever. You don't look the same the way you did before. Okay. Fox on the line, scream. Yeah, that's... Whatever happened to so-and-so? Yeah, that stuff, yeah. That's a different world. And it's the thing that I think a lot of them don't quite, And they pick up on a little bit, but they don't really... even when my mom remembers people sometimes, like, um, buddy of mine streams on here as well. He does a lot of crafty things. Um, oh wow, that's like my that was like my grandfather and my father. I never knew my grandfather because of that age difference. Shit, where'd that go? But my buddy Mike, who he was actually the drummer of my band in high school, and so he was over my house quite a lot. So we practiced at my house, and he's a streamer on here. His name's Thesis Paradox, and he was streaming one day, and I was working from home, so I was watching him. And my mom came back from picking up my kids from school because again I was working, I couldn't leave. So I had him on my other computer, not my work computer, and she's like, "Oh, who's this?" And I was like, "It's Mike." And she's like, "Who?" Like, Mike literally used to drum and like came over all the, and she's looking, she's squeezing, like squinting her eyes at him, like, you know, like, "Oh my gosh, that's Mike." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's Mike." Mom. Oh my gosh, oh my god. Like, she had to be told and like pointed to, like, "Oh, you know, oh, he does this too." I'm like, "Yeah, he does this too. He's always on too, whenever, you know." "Oh, he's Thesis Paradox. I always wonder when you talk to him." I'm like, "Really?" Because I always call him by his name, but I always wonder if it's, you know, bad form sometimes that I call him by his name. Now, let's put it this way: every parent at some point will end up that way. Like, I found myself doing stuff my folks did, and I'm going, "Oh my god, I know it's cliche, and I know it's something that sounds like, like there's a bad run of commercials. We can't stop you from turning to your parents, but we can help you save on car insurance, whatever." It's like, but it really does happen, man. The worst thing my like I said, I worked at the Phillies, right? I worked for the Philadelphia Phillies for a while. My dad had been there though. He actually just retired after this past year. But he worked there from 1993 straight through, like I said, last season. And I started there in 2010, and I had to quit before last season because of my work moved its office. But when I was working there, the first year especially, I'd always hear from, like, if I was a few steps down from my partner or whatever it was in the stadium, I'd start hearing, "Look at him! He looks just like his father. He stands just like him." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Oh god, come on, guys! I'm my own person, not my dad." Well, then one day, what my dad used to do was he would stand on top of the Phillies dugout. People want autographs, he would take the ball or whatever, and he would hand it to the player who was signing. And, you know, he wasn't allowed to ask for you. Like, you could not go up and say, "Hey, can you ask so-and-so to get a ball?" Yeah, or a signature or whatever. He could not ask that. But if you asked the player and the player agreed, he's then your person. You know, they didn't want you throwing baseballs and shit at professional baseball players. Because, God forbid, they're not paying attention and you injure a $20 million player. You could see why this would be a problem. So my dad was the person you were supposed to give the ball to, and he'd hand it to them, and then he'd hand it back to you when it was signed. Well, they had someone like that also in the visiting dugout. Well, one day he couldn't do it, so they asked me to work the dugout. So I'm on the visiting dugout, my dad's on the Phillies dugout, and yeah, everyone's like making a big deal about, like, "Oh, first time father-son combo, blah 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 blah," and the dugout break is a little weird. It starts as soon as the game starts, and then it ends, or it did at least that time. It would end at the top of the seventh. And then we go back and we don't get on top of the dugouts during the game. We would just sort of, stay down low, and we sat on little stools and everything. And I'm sitting on this stool, and I'm just having my hand resting on my knee, and I'm rubbing my cheeks, and I look up at my father across the way a little bit, and he is sitting the exact same way. And I was like, son of a bitch! It's like, everybody's right. I've been doing it this whole time. And I caught myself at least 2 other times, and it was a different position, but I was still in, like, doing exactly as he was, as he was sitting, I was sitting, or, oh my god, it was so annoying. I was cracking up at it, too. I'm like, oh, damn it. And this is when the Phillies were really, really good. So we had a lot of people all the time, and every game, my dad and I would just stay after the game. We'd sit in the employee parking lot and drink a few beers, share whatever bullshit stories we had to work with. And I had to explain to my father, yeah, I looked over and you and I were sitting exactly the same way, Dad. Like, I mean, same hands, same posture, everything. Sucked. Okay. Yep. It's funny, like, all my kids, obviously they have a little bit of a hint of art in them, as much as I've actually tried to deter them from it. And I shouldn't say I try to deter them from it. I've said a couple times on here. I want them to understand art. I want them to appreciate art. I want them to be able to go to a museum and spend a lot of time in there. Maybe not as much time as I spend in a museum, but I want them to be able to spend some time in a museum when they visit. But I always try to, like, I've always been trying to push them away from making it a career, or trying to make it a career, I should say, because it's such a pain in the ass field to try to do something in. Unfortunately, I think I've most certainly failed my youngest in that regards, because I think she's definitely the most like me when it came to I guess raw artistic talent, and she's constantly, like, my son and my oldest, they drew on occasion. They would draw like a little bit here and there. My youngest is just plowing through paper like you wouldn't believe. It's constantly just shit. Like, every day you'll if you were to come to my house, you would literally find huge chunks of paper just left all over, because that's what she does. She's like me. She consumes. That's it. Nothing but. And she's quite good, actually, for her age, especially. It cracks me up, too, because when she was... And she still is on occasion to mess with me. She was very prone to, Daddy, I don't like you. I don't like you. Yeah. I only like Mommy. She's 8 years old. And like 2 years ago is when I really started to see it, because she I don't know if they're as popular over in Israel as they were here, but they have these things called painting with a twist. Okay? So basically, for the most part, it is 90% of the time middle-aged women going to a, studio to primarily just paint really bad pictures and drink wine. And that's for the most part what they are. Don't get me wrong, I adore them, because what happens is, at least around here, someone keeps selling, or not selling, but donating their old painting with the twist paintings to Goodwill, and I go and buy them for like, $2 each or whatever, and then I strip them off and I get the stretchers. So I use the canvas stretchers. But anyway, so she went. Her friends had one of her friends had a birthday party like that, and she went and they did a painting of a cupcake. Oh, okay, well, consider yourself lucky. My Facebook's littered with them. People are like, oh, I went to painting with a twist tonight. My friends, look at the paintings we did. And some of them keep asking me for opinions. I'm like, oh, no. No, you don't want my opinion. Like, I could be a good constructive critiquer, but there's someone who is not prepared for it. I don't know if that's the right term. Like, that, if you're not already in an artistic sensibility, you know, looking for constructive critique, someone something to help you along in finding what you're looking for or whatever, you know, constructive criticism just sounds like regular criticism. You don't see the benefit, I guess. So I'm like, you don't want me to start talking because I will not make you happy. I'm like, and I'll be trying to be helpful and you won't be happy. I try to tell my friends that a lot. Like, don't ask me, please, God, do not ask me to critique your painting with a twist. Yes, consider yourself lucky that you don't have this. Other than, like I said, for me, it's cheap art supplies. Because then, like I said, whoever donates it, I don't know who donates them, because it's like, why would you, you know. The last one I bought had a fucking hole in the canvas. They didn't just donate a canvas, they donated a canvas that was broken. Like, why would you do that? Anyway, I digress. More for the fact that I was buying them. Can't imagine anybody buying one for their house. But she did one of those. She did a cupcake for this party, and if you looked at it compared to any of the other kids, it was phenomenal. For being 6 years old at the time, I was like, oh my god, she like we picked her up from the party, and I always got the canvas in the front seat. I was like looking at it and going, oh my god, I was like, she did that, right? And yeah. And Sophia starts talking about it a little bit. She goes, Daddy, I tried to do that thing like if you look around the border, I try to paint like you, where it has lots of different colors and little dash marks, and I was like, I see that, and I'm like sitting there going, oh my god, this kid is gonna follow my footsteps. And I know it sounds weird that, like I said, I would not want them to, but I just know how much crap I had to put up with, you know, through the years. At art school, nobody liked my style or whatever, and they kept trying to get me to go off of it until I won the one big award in my senior year from an outside company. And so it's just like, and look, all my kids have something that they're good at with art. Like my son is, his 2D work isn't very. I mean, it's below where he should, like his age group, I'd say. But three-dimensionally, when it comes to sculpting and stuff like that, he's very good. He's very good when it comes to that. My oldest was much better at, like, say, graphic design than I ever was. So she can draw fonts and stuff, you know, and lettering in a way that I never could. I still tend to avoid it when I have, if I can. Like, I'm not doing it on this one. Partly because I don't want to have to try to figure out how I'm going to deal with the worn off parts and the faded parts and the, you know, like, so I just like, screw it, just leave it go. But my oldest she's still good at it. But life drawing stuff, she would be, I would say, you know, I don't want to say lacking. I like that term. but she definitely needed a lot of work. So, well, that's how it was for me. I was the same way. My mom doesn't know where it came from. She just, the second I was old enough to carry, actually like hold a pencil, I was drawing. And that's some of the shit that, again, and maybe it's different nowadays. I don't know. Like when I was a kid, man, everybody was out to see who was the best artist. So it was like constant. It's almost like fights in school because of who, well, this person likes their art, more than your art, so, or whatever. Like, so it was always like a fight. Which I'm glad was not the way it was at the University of Arts. Once you got to art schools, like everybody was like, Oh, well, I can't say my parents had no love for art. They certainly didn't understand it like I do. We went on vacation up to Boston a few years ago with my folks. Now, my wife will openly admit she hates going to museums with me. She hates it. She makes no bones about it. She despises it. She's not a very I don't want to say she's not artistic. She's creative, but she doesn't do it necessarily in these manners. She's a teacher, so she has to have some creativity levels. But she cannot tolerate me in a museum because I will spend. I'll just use the Philly Museum as an example. I have gone to that museum more times than I could possibly remember at this point. I'll go get a print for a second. I'll be right back. I'll grab some. I'll show you. Alright, where are you, you bastard? You're hiding from me. Where did you go? Ah, there you are. Now, if you click that Instagram button at the bottom of my thing or whatever, you'll send over to my Instagram. You'll see that one of my primary influences is Vincent Van Gogh. Van Gogh. Say it properly. This painting here is a painting called Rain, and it's in the Philadelphia Museum of Art. I have stood in front of this painting with so much time that it would have to be measured in days by this point. Okay. Easily at least 48 hours that I have stood in front of this painting throughout my life, if not more. And I wasn't really even a fan of fine art until I was about 17 years old. Oh, I'd love to go to Paris. Oh, you're gonna make me jealous now. But here's the thing, like, my wife and I have talked about it, and we if we ever get there, if we ever find the funds, the Louvre is a problem for us. The Louvre is a big problem for us. Because the Louvre on its own, I think they said if you just walk through the Louvre and don't stop at anything, just walk through the Louvre, to see it in its entirety, it's like 2 days of walking, I think, or 2 or 3 days of walking. And so if you change that to my period of time in a museum, you're talking weeks. Like, it's a big problem. Just like if I ever get to say the Netherlands, I get to go to the Van Gogh Museum, I'll be fucked. Like, I should say I'll be fucked. My wife will just be like, all right, like, look, you guys go see whatever else you can see, because just drop me off here every morning and I'll be fine. Yeah, the Louvre will be a problem. But as I said, now that painting is at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, and I've been to the Philly Museum so many times. I'm a member there, and And I still, on a regular visit, if I go there and just visit the little places that I like to, not hit the whole museum, just hit my Impressionist, I hit the, you know, a little bit of the modern art area, you know. I'll be in there for at least probably a good 3 hours. And then, oh god, don't get me started. You're gonna get me in trouble if I get there. No, I believe me. Let's put it this way. I was very, very, very close to going to France. Right as I graduated college, I had saved up a lot of money, and I had full intentions to get my passport right after graduating and just take off. And I was going to spend a couple weeks over there. Actually, my plan was to spend about 3 weeks, probably a week in Paris, and then head down to Arles. So I had done a lot of pre-planning on where to go, and yeah, I actually was like censoring myself on like, okay, you can go to, here's how much time you can spend in the Louvre. I was like, you know, you have to map it out. Like, here's where you're going to go. You cannot go outside of this. You know, and I think the Musée d'Orsay was on that list as well. There were a couple things, and it was like, all right, and then we're going down to Arles. We're going to paint. We're going to use watercolors, so that the stuff is dried and can come home with us, and then we'll make real oil paintings out of the stuff from the watercolors. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, it's fortunate in the long run. My oldest daughter's mother came and dropped her off with me about 3 days before I was supposed to graduate, something like that. And so I had to find, you know, quick find babysitter, yeah, or like a daycare. I had to quick find all this stuff, and when you have to quick find anything like that, out goes a lot of money. And being as once she can live with me, it's like, well, I can't just run off to Paris now. She's living with me, you know, like. And her mother got checked herself into a psych ward. And I have my own thoughts and theories about that. But, so I would have been very nervous about sending her back. Yeah. And before that, up to that point even, my ex-wife had used my daughter a few times as like leverage on getting shit she wanted. So I definitely looked at it as a point to escape from being underneath her thumb. So I was like, well, I'm not going to easily give Hallie back. Like, she's living with me now, and I'm not going to behave the way that she did to me, but I'm certainly not going to let her just come back in and start running shit again like that. So because I was now home, I ended up, I stayed in the area, because I was like, well, my kid's here now. I went and got a job or whatever, you know, like Circuit City, which is a little more steady than what I was doing beforehand. And one night, this dude that I worked with at Circuit City, it was like, he was friends of a friend and what have you, and he was calling me a lot. Like, I think he was trying to get me hooked up with one of our like mutual friends, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to. And so being that I was the only one, well, it was me and my other friend were the only one that were over 21 at the time. I called him up like, dude, we're going to a bar. Let's go right now. I was like, I'm picking your ass up in about 10 minutes. I was like, we are out. And I'm like, because I need to be away from where these people can find me. And while we were at this bar, I told him, I was like, look, dude, I'm your wingman. I don't give a shit. You hit on whatever you want. I'll take the ugly chick. I was like, I don't care. I'm like, I'll do whatever I have to. I gotta avoid this kid. So we're sitting there talking about which one of my friend, which girl my buddy wants to hit on, and tap comes on my shoulder. Is your name Brian? I'm like, yeah, and I've never seen this girl in my life. I have no idea who she is. Right? And she goes, what's your last name? I was like, Coates. She goes, okay, and wanders off. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, what the shit, you know? I was like, all right, we got to find out what this is, Dav. So, my buddy and I start walking over, and goddamn, you know, as we're walking, we both noticed that there's a girl there that we had gone to high school with. Her name was Heather, and so we're walking over. So, hey, it's Heather. Yeah, you know, Pagnano. Yeah. So, this girl Heather and I started talking, and we were hitting off very much. You know, because I was like, that was weird as shit. And Heather goes, oh, we went to school together. Yeah. So we started talking. And now I have to try to sneak away and tell my buddy Davin, dude, I am not your wingman anymore. I am full on hitting on this chick right now. And so I had to sneak away from her. And I'm like, all right, Dav, you know, yeah, we need to, I gotta get a new beer. And I was like, I'll be right back. And unfortunately, on my way back, I ran into my brother, who was at the same bar. And he kept me up from getting back over there. So we get back over there, where Heather and her friends were, and they're going. I'm like, fuck, dude. We're hitting it off. Fuck, man. So, eventually, we like, this club we were at had like a second floor where you could look down over the dance floor. So I was like, let's go up there and see if, just make sure we can't see them. And we're up there talking, yeah, we're looking and can't see him. And I look over to my right and there they are. And I was like, oh my god. So, started dancing with that girl, got her number, and like 4 years later married her. She's upstairs now. So in the long run, I guess not going to Paris worked out. It's just so funny because that club where we were at, like it's like a grimy piece of shit club. Like it's gone now, but it was like, it was known to be like kind of a trashy, like you're just kind of here to get cheap drinks club. And you know, it's just so funny that it's also funny that my mother used to tell me all the time, you'll never meet the girl you're gonna marry in a club. Ha ha. Take that, Mom. But I still would like to get over something. But it was that exact meeting of my wife. I always, like, I do try to, like, I try not to do, like, advice like that to my kids. Oh, you know, like I said, the only reason we were there was, like, just because I knew nobody could get to us there. I used to hate that club. Like, it was just cheap and it was close. But it was loaded with like terrible cover bands, like god awful cover bands, and I hated them because this is early 2000s, so anything that was part of the rock you know, alternative rock scene was just awful music. It was just god awful. And so you're hearing bad covers of bad songs, and it was just terrible. But like I said, all I wanted was to get the fuck out of it, you know. Look, and this club specifically was known for having, pretty much being like the haven for like 40-year-old divorcees and stuff that were just like, you know, oh, like a swing, like swing music type club. Oh yeah. There's a couple. There were a couple good ones. I don't know if they're still around in the city. God knows. I'm so far away from that scene at this point. I don't see even a reason to go to a bar. I'm like, dude, I can drink at home for free. Not for free, but for significantly cheaper. We were joking around with the kids last night, saying something about, like, I was like, I forget what I was telling them about. We were going to leave them. Oh, we told them we hadn't bought them anything yet. We said we got to go Christmas shopping. So you guys are going to stay here, and Mom and Dad are going Christmas shopping. I said, meanwhile, Mom and Dad go to the club. And then my wife and I both started laughing. We're like, can you picture us at a club nowadays? Like, turn it down! It's so loud! Why is it so loud? I don't know the lyrics to this song. Anyway. What's the one? Blue Spot, I think. That tends to be the case anywhere, I believe. Though I'll give one exception to there was a club around here called Shampoo. That my one of my buddies who's gay was swearing we should go to. Oh, this is a great club. It's a great club. I'm like, all right, well, we'll trust you. And we went the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, which for some reason is a big party day. I don't quite understand why that falls under like party time. You know, but whatever. It's always supposed to be a big party week, you know, day or whatever, that Wednesday. So we went to this club. Now it's in a part of town where you pull into a lot that doesn't actually have, you know, like a parking lot attendant, so you can park for free, quote unquote. But meanwhile, you will be approached as soon as you pull into the place by a gentleman who will tell you, "Hey guys, give me $10 and I'll watch your car." You know, and you better give him that $10. You know, or whatever they're asking for. I think that night it was 20. Because otherwise, you will come back and you will, if you find your car will not have most of its parts still attached to it. You will find yourself on cinder blocks and a bunch of missing other pieces. So anyway, so as soon as we pull up, that's what I get. You know, yo guys, give me $10. I'll watch your car. Send the money right over. Yeah. Okay. You know, that's fine. And so we get into the club. The club was like $20 cover to get in. So I'm paying for my wife, you know, or girlfriend at the time. So it's $40 for me. Okay. Shit, there's $40. You know what? It was 20 I gave the guy. I'm sorry, it was $20 for him. Because it was partying it, so he knew charge more. So yeah, I was already out $60 before we even actually stepped in the damn bar. And I was like, okay, well, that's not great. Then we get to the coat check, and the coat check was $10 each, and I'm like, okay, well, there's another $20 gone, so now I'm up to $80, and I haven't gotten a drink in me yet. I was not a happy camper. So then we get in, you know, to the thing, I get drinks, and the beers were, and it was a local brewery too, were $10 each. I was like, oh fuck you, good God. So, you know, I think I ended up spending about I bought another round after that, so it was about $120, and I had 2 beers. I was like, fuck this, we're gone. Because on top of all that, the club was also one of those, like, nothing but rave music club. Like, it was literally just... And, like, there was no recognizable beginning or end to any song. It just sort of just kept going like that. And, oh god, it was a bad time. And to make matters worse, I got pulled over for speeding on my way home because I was so pissed off I just want to go home. So I got pulled over for speeding. The guy's like, did the whole sobriety check. I'm like, dude, I couldn't have afforded to get drunk tonight. I was like, I'll tell you, officer, I had 2 beers, that shampoo. They were $10 each. I had already spent. I like broke it down for him. I'm like, all right, well, here's your ticket. You know. I'm like, okay, cool, thanks. Makes the night even better. So that was a horrible experience the whole way through. But what I understand is there's a club called Woody's. Gay check? What the hell's that? They actually like hook up with someone of the same sex? Like they have to like you have to do it in front of them? What the hell's that? Oh, there you go. That's funny though. It's like the salty spittoon. How tough? How gay are you? Sorry. Oh god, sorry. I'm just picturing some of my friends answering that question. Oh god. Oh shit, Mike, where are you, dude? You need to be on this fucking. Theseus, where are you? My buddy Mike is the one who took us to that club. I still won't let him live it down. But. That's funny as shit. Okay, that's alright, that's a little better. I'm sorry, just. How gay are you? Liberace shopped at my closet, you know. Oh god, that's funny. Okay, alright, that makes more sense. I was gonna say I guess the U.S. version, like they'd be like asking, like you know, what roles did Hugh Jackman play on on Broadway or. Let's put it this way: my buddy Mike just told his review of Aquaman. He's like, oh, it's a really great movie, great action scenes, blah blah, blah. And then he finishes up that comment and he adds a comment on his Facebook right afterwards of and 2 hours of wet Jason Momoa. Damn it, you gotta tell them to suggest it though. It'll be more like the, like I said, the salty spittoon. SpongeBob. How gay are you? God, I wonder how my niece would answer that question. That'd be funny. See, my niece Sammy, like she's a lesbian, and she, but she's very. Now she's the one that, like I said, she was like, Um, my brother had when he was younger, like he was 18, just like I was when I had Allie. And the thing is, like, my brother and I definitely handled becoming parents at 18 very differently. Um, Especially because once we both ended up splitting with the our daughter's mothers. Admittedly, my brother's situation was worse. My brother's girlfriend, the mother of Samantha, was she left him for his best friend. Like that's a hard fucking thing to go through. Like my ex just left. She did hook up with the guitarist in my band at the time, which wasn't exactly great, but I was already kind of mentally done with her, so I was like, it didn't matter. But there's stuff that happened afterwards that sort of didn't matter, but anyway, I digress. But Sammy and me spent a lot of time together when we were little. So Sammy has a lot more traits like me, even though she's not my kid. Like, she just, she picked up her Uncle Brian stuff. Like, and Sammy and Allie were, again, they're not sisters, and but they certainly were almost raised as such in a lot of ways. So they tend to have. So she picked up a bunch of traits from me. So I'm just picturing her trying to answer the, how gay are you? She'd be all over that. She'd have a blast with that one. I'm gonna have to run that by her tonight. It'll be fun. Rainbow to the time. That's cool though. Actually, I dig that. No, okay. Like I gotta ask because I don't know enough about the. Whatever I know of Israel is very limited in the fact that of whatever it's kind of presented here in the U.S. Like, how is it as a culture accepted over there? Is it okay? Like, I mean, like we were getting better for a while, and then recent events of the 2 years ago pushed us back a while, I think. But certainly with our vice president, like, is the gay community like pretty well accepted over there? Is it still, you guys like still fighting? Depends on the city. I guess cities in general will be a little easier comparatively, but is gay marriage allowed over there, or? I mean, I could see it not being in certain religions, but okay. Oh, that sucks. That's stupid. Like, I can understand from a religious aspect. Like, obviously they have gay marriage here now. I can understand a religion saying, "No, you can't." Yeah. Oh, so you're only allowed to have religious marriage only. Okay, all right. That sucks. That really sucks. See, for us, it went state by state for a while until finally it was like, all right, you know what? Just, it's cool. Oh, that's so weird. That's so ridiculous. It's asinine. Like, if they ever wanted like an example of like how great gay parents can be together, like, just check out like Doogie Howser, Christ, Neil Patrick Harris, like, and his husband, like the Halloween shit they do every year. Like, it's so silly. They rock Halloween every year. the surrogate? Yeah. That's so bad. And see, depending on how those laws are written, too, sometimes, I guess, I mean, like, they can end up affecting even, like, say, like, a straight person, and, like, my sister, and she kicked around the idea, we're not sure it'd be a good idea. My sister is a few years older than me, never been married, never really even had a very serious relationship, but she was talking for at least a little while about adopting. But she was living in Arkansas at the time, and Arkansas literally passed a law that said, like, no single parent adoptions. And it was totally to prevent, this was before gay marriage was allowed in the U.S., it was totally to prevent gay people from adopting. That's entirely what the law was designed for. Everybody knew it, and everybody was calling foul on it, but it still got passed. And because Alabama's like the backwoods fucking idiots, like, to any Alabama viewers that are not, I apologize if I'm generalizing, but anyway, as a whole, the state is generally known to be a few centuries behind the times. Or not, I said Alabama, Arkansas. Sorry, Arkansas. Either way, same. It's like here and here, like no difference. I think is it Arkansas too, and I think it's Arkansas. Can't remember if it's Arkansas or Alabama. Like, to show you how backwards they are. They still have. There's one of them that has a cannon, an old style, like, 1800s cannon, pointed to the north. I swear to God, this is true. Pointed to the north in case us Northerners ever try to start another civil war. And mind you, I don't know how much you know about the United States Civil War, but it was started because the South wanted to secede, which was, like, against the constitutional written about it. So, it really wasn't the North that started it, but they wanted to leave because we said stop with the slavery, damn it. So anyway, that's where she was living at the time, and it was like it was such an asinine thing because she's like, I'm not gay and I can't adopt even if I wanted to now. She goes, because they wrote this fucking law, and it's like, it sucks. I mean, again, I can't say for 100% that it'd be a good idea for my sister to do it on her own. I mean, I can't even say that I did it on my own, even before I met my wife, because my folks were helping me out left and right, and we were in the same house, so. Oh my God. That's nuts. That is, wow. I don't even know how to respond to that. I know there's people that would like to take stuff like that back to around here, but I'd like to think we're still at least a little bit evolved from that. Look, I don't consider myself I don't consider myself religious at all, unfortunately. I find it to be a plague, but I don't know. Religion and government just don't work. They shouldn't be together. That's ridiculous. Not considered humble. And it's funny because all the rules, like, It's nuts. Yeah, I was gonna say, I know that it's like a thing. Like you guys have to like join. Like it's like required, right? Military. That was like that's something I remember learning, and as stupid as it sounds, it's a comic called "Why the Last Man." If you've never read it, it's a really good series. I think he is good at graphic now. And one of the major badass characters in it was she was part of the Israeli army, and that's where they mentioned it. It's like the first time I remember learning that. That's crazy. Anyway. So I just want to try to make sure I'm getting this right. So you're required to wear pants if you're in the service, obviously. But then if you're not, if you're wearing pants out in public, it's not considered. You know, they would be. That's crazy. So they would like kind of like ridicule you for doing what you're required. It's all right. I don't understand it. That's so. Yeah, I think I'm understanding. I think that's what I'm understanding you said, but in specific cities, okay. But still, even still, it's like if it's required, that's nuts. Let's see, what time is it? Okay, and it is after 4. I have to come wrap this up. Extremists of anything are nuts. Like we've got a whole rack of them. Unfortunately, one of them's our vice president right now, that are the extreme Christians, and they're all lunatics. There's a lot of people like. I said this last night. Like, I don't believe in religion. I don't believe in it. Yeah, I was raised as a Catholic, but I don't believe in it. But I find the Christ myth, especially, to be one that would be really kind of cool if it played out how it's supposed to, which is here this person's born and peace comes to the planet and fucking everything's cool and groovy. And people that read his shit would learn how to be cool. That's the way it hypothetically should be, you know? Like, he was, hey, be cool and groovy with each other, according to the books. And his followers tend to be anything but cool and groovy. And they tend to fall a little short on the education level. Because we've got a president that claimed he's going to build a wall and make the country he was putting the wall against pay for it. Okay? He's going to make Mexico pay for this fucking wall. And now he shut down the government because he can't get the funding from Congress to pay for the wall. And his dumbass supporters have a GoFundMe page to pay for the wall. Which their goal is $1 billion. They were at like... at one point they were at 5 million. And they said, we're halfway there. And you're like... what math are you working with? So, as I said, religious extremism under any condition. It's one thing to have a little bit of faith. You know, if you do, that's great. I've never seen the evidence of it, so I don't have it. But to be fucking locked into a book written that long ago, and again, shit that they use to oppress some people. There's something probably in that same chapter that they do regularly without any fucking issue. You know, the one that used all the time against gay people was Leviticus, and it's like, but you're asked to still eat shrimp You know, like, I don't know how else to put it any simpler. Like, your ass is still mixed clothing. Like, it's all in there in the same spot. So, that's crazy. In emergency situations and shit, that's crazy. That's the backwater shit around here. Alright. So it has been a pleasure talking to you. I gotta cut this. I gotta clean my hands up a little bit and go spend some time with the extended family. My nieces should be over there and everything by now, so I'm sure my wife's already upstairs, like already got my kids all waiting ready to go. But it has been a pleasure. Please stop by again at some point. I will be on again Wednesday night. It's 8 p.m. Eastern time, so I don't know what time it is there. Right now it's 4:23, so about 4 hours from now on Wednesday. All right. So I will catch you. Have a great night, or day, or wherever it is. I think it's nighttime over there. Have a great one. Merry Christmas.